Good morning from the Sunshine State. Broadcasting from Palm Beach County, it's the Fishing in Florida Show. Sundays from 8 to 10 a.m. on the WCET FM network. And now, here's your host, Riscala.
Hey, good morning. It is the Fishing in Florida Show. It might be Fishing in the Hurricane Show this morning. We are live from South Florida. We have, I think, I don't even know how to say it. The hurricane is just literally offshore of where we are right now. Not a whole lot going on with regard to disturbed weather other than just an overcast and a little bit of rain here and there. It's going to be one of them days where it's not going to be a good day to go out in the water today, unfortunately. But we do have those days. But you can do a wide variety of other things. And here to discuss that with me this morning is Carolyn Stash. She's with Atlas Trax. You know what I like to say about Carolyn? If you want to protect what you love to the max, you got to talk to my friend Carolyn over there at Atlas Trax. How you doing, girl?
Well, I am staying dry so far this morning. As you mentioned, that storm is sitting right off the coast of where my town is. So I'm expecting a lot of wind and rain coming in soon. But so far, the house is dark like nighttime.
Yeah, that's about the same here. Took the dog out this morning. We lasted about 5 minutes, came right back in because one of those bands came over and promptly soaked us within just a couple of seconds. I said, oh, great. What a way to start the day. Didn't sleep last night. Literally didn't sleep last night because of this storm coming up on us. I have an issue with storms kind of sneaking up on us like this one did. Because many years ago, I lived in Cutler Ridge, which is down there by Miami. And we had a hurricane come through. It was August 24th, 1992. The name of the hurricane was Hurricane Andrew. We lost not only our home, we lost the entire neighborhood. So I have seen firsthand what these storms can do. And with this one coming up the way it was, I couldn't rest last night. I'm still not resting. I'm exhausted, but I can't sleep. You know, I don't know if that makes sense, but I can't get my mind to settle down enough to, all right, I can just relax for a little while until this thing passes or until I see some degradation in the storm. I just can't. It's just one of those things. So are you, I know you like to look at the cameras. Are you looking at the cameras this morning?
Yeah, as a matter of fact, I have a favorite. It's called the Hillsborough Inlet Cam, and you can not only see the entire inlet in waves, but there's a pier, and surprisingly, there's a bunch of people by themselves walking out on this stone pier, and I can see some waves cresting over top. Not the smartest thing to do if you don't have somebody there to know you're out there, but and it looks gray as can be.
Yeah. All I can say about people like that is it's just my opinion. I don't think they truly understand the strength, even though it's a tropical storm. I don't think they really understand the strength of these things. I've lived in South Florida most of my life. I have been through just about every hurricane that's come through South Florida. I've been here for it. I remember as a child, I think it was Donna was one of them, went down to Coconut Grove and was absolutely shocked at what I saw when I got there. There were literally, I thought there were ships, but maybe yachts would be a better description. But there were boats lined all up and down the shore, everywhere. I didn't have any idea the strength of this thing. We were inland. We were quite a bit in ways inland, and we did suffer the wind and the rain and a couple of trees down here and there. No real major damage, just more of a cleanup than anything else. It was a powerful hurricane. But when I went to the water and I saw what it did on the water, I said, holy smokes, man. That was unbelievable. Ships, I say ships, probably yachts is a better description. Big boats, big boats. Washed inland. I mean, like a quarter of a mile inland. I don't even know how they got them back in the water. But when I saw that, I had an idea of the strength of this thing. And from that point forward, I had a deep found respect for these storms. You can't take them lightly. I know that the media likes to build it up because, I don't know, they make more money if they make it sensationalized, I guess. But it's just one of those things for me. I'm telling you, I'm being just brutally honest. I didn't sleep at all last night. I'm just it's one of those things. My mind will not rest until this thing goes away.
Well, even Riscala, I mean, we're doing a fishing in Florida show. There's so many of our listeners that have boats that are in the water.
Oh my
like
gosh.
Myself. And,
oh my gosh.
It's another reason for the community to come together.
Yeah.
So for those of us that are on canals, some of us are actually tying boats into the middle of the canal using people's docks across the way. And so it's another way of coming together and securing everybody's assets, because if one boat breaks off the dock and starts
it's a domino
down,
yep.
It's going to damage everybody else, just like
yep.
you mentioned.
Yep.
And during this time, our listeners know that I handle GPS tracking devices for boats. I do a free hurricane dock plan, meaning if someone tells me where their boat is or supposed to be, we keep an extra eye on it, because what if it breaks away? What if they leave their home because of flooding? What do? They worry, like you were up last night. Well, where is it?
Yeah.
This is a great way to tell if it's drifted or not. But we've been doing preparation for days, and I'm kind of let down a little bit that it's not a little bit bigger storm. But we've had everything tied up, the boat strapped down, everything like that. And I'm sure even north, it's going to actually almost direct hit Jacksonville. It's another big boating community for Florida.
Yeah, yeah. Well, it's supposed to come pretty close. I mean, originally they were saying, I was figuring somewhere between 30 and 40 miles offshore from us. Now it's kind of zigzagged a little bit, and it looks like it's going to be a little bit closer. But even though that it is, again, we're the southwest side of the storm, which typically, generally speaking, is the weakest. The northeast side typically is where most of the stuff goes on. And since it's remaining offshore, this is my concern. Since it remains offshore, it has the opportunity to build. If it had come on shore last night, I would have probably relaxed and went to sleep, because I know once it came on shore, it's not a powerful storm. It'll break down pretty quick. But as long as it remains offshore, it really has very little resistance out there, other than the wind. The wind shear is what's really saving us right now, shearing this thing down. But other than that, there's really nothing to slow it down. There's no mountains, there's no land, there's no, none of that. So it has that chance to build up again. I just won't relax until I see this thing either dissipate or go away. Please, just go away.
I have a feeling it's going up the East Coast. I see it's going to be in New York area and then Nova Scotia. And
gosh.
It's funny. I was watching the Weather Channel yesterday, Riscala, and these guys are really working hard to find material. And one announcer said, we're 100% certain this thing's going to go up the East Coast. And I said, well, that's a pretty easy job, and it's definitely going up the East Coast. So it was pretty funny for him to say that. But I've been watching it. Tuesday's supposed to be New York. There's a big white marlin tournament in Ocean City, Maryland this coming weekend. The prize money is about $4 million. So hopefully that'll go on, as scheduled.
That's
everybody's going to watch.
That's a week from today?
This coming Thursday is the first day.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to make it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a big one. It's the world's largest prize money marlin tournament.
Wow.
So we're kind of watching the storms for that, and they have to go 80 to 100 miles offshore.
Like I said, I don't think they're going to make this thing. At one time when this thing was originally starting up, it was like 1,100 miles wide. How crazy is that? I mean, that's like they were saying. That's like from Miami to New York.
Yeah. That's absolutely the size. I think it shrunk down to about 300 miles now, but think about it, covering the entire East Coast.
Yeah, literally the entire East Coast. This thing was just I don't know what the word ginormous was one of my friend's favorite words. Instead of enormous or big or giant, it was ginormous. And it was at one time. So fortunately, from what I'm seeing, is that it's not really strengthening. It's not really becoming better organized. It's still kind of sloppy, which, if we're going to have a storm, I'd rather have it sloppy than organized, because once it becomes organized, then we have all kinds of issues. So I know that this is a time when the technology that you have is, of the utmost importance. You mentioned earlier if somebody has a boat in the water. This is what I like about small companies. If I went to, some big corporation that sold trackers, and I said, listen, I'm going to have my boat in the canal. Could you watch it for me? No. But if you go to a small business, you become, like I've said many times, like an extended part of their family. Of course, we'll watch it for you. I'm watching other people's. I'll watch yours as well. So this is so.
That doesn't even. It's not even a thought to me. It doesn't. Yeah. I don't think I'm doing this 24/7. I'm doing it because these people are family members.
Yeah.
Especially when you have the mother say, "Hey, my kids are over in the Bahamas. Can you keep an eye on them?"
Oh my goodness.
Pretty important stuff.
That's a heartstring. And speaking of the Bahamas, one of the guests that we have on from time to time, Stephanie Lynn, she was out there, and I was trying to reach out to her to see how she's doing. I saw a post that she put up, and she was looking for somewhere here. A canal or somewhere where she could put her, I think she has a catamaran, because she's out there in the Bahamas. Something that if you don't have a boat, you don't even think about it. I remember the days when I had my wellcraft. There was, I don't remember which storm it was, but somebody gave me a good idea. I don't know if my boat was not on a canal. My boat was trailered. But this person gave me a good idea because I was worried sick that the boat was going to end up, flying away somewhere. And they said, well, take the boat, take your some bricks and put it underneath the frame of the trailer, support the frame of the trailer, and then fill the boat's hull with water. It never occurred to me to do that. I filled the boat's hull with water and son of a gun, it stayed right there.
Oh, that's a really good point. And, there's so many straps, the yellow straps you see when people are moving trucking loads and granite and things like that. And, some people say strap your boat to the boat lift.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's a good idea, but it's also not a good idea because, for example, our boat lift, if it falls off the dock, then the boat's strapped to it. Now it's going in the water and sideways.
Yeah.
It's going to, get damaged.
Yeah.
So there's all different ways to strap these boats down. There's different straps that have different braking strength. All of this I had to learn in one day a few days ago. And, it's not the most fun to have to do research on that, but you have to make sure, some people have to pull their boats out of the water. Bigger boats, are bilges and batteries and everything all charged up. So It'll be interesting to see what kind of boats sink at the dock because that does happen. And, it's just important. Like I was just looking at the weather. They say winds gusting to 65 around where I am, and seas are going to be 18 to 22 feet. Well, that's the height of most little boats that go out, 22 feet.
Yeah. Well, you got bands coming through right now. I'm watching it. Series of bands coming through. It doesn't tell me what the speed of they are, but a series of bands coming through. I like the idea. If I had a boat and it was in the water, I like the idea of being able to stick it in the middle of the canal and tie it from one end to the other. I think that's probably one of the safest ways because, as people may know or not know, we have storm surges. Depending upon which way the storm comes in, there's always a surge. The more direct the hit, the greater the surge. The more indirect, the less the surge. But nevertheless, it's a surge. And to have it out there in the middle of the canal, tied to both ends with a little bit of a free play either way, I think that would be like the ultimate in protecting your vessel because it can go up and down and go right and left to a certain degree, as long as something doesn't break loose, and come tearing down the canal. I like that idea.
Yeah, and I'm looking out the window right now, and it's almost high tide. So luckily, we're not getting the storm surges because we've got maybe 6 inches above that, and then our dock's underwater. But yeah, absolutely, and even when I tie my boat off to the dock, sometimes I got kind of clever. I actually have my boat rope, and then I put a bungee cord rope in the mix of that. So if it does it can pull off the dock and have a little bouncy flexibility, like you were just saying, and a little bit give, which is good. But yeah, I mean, it's a dangerous time for everybody. This thing's far from over, and there's going to be people out there surf fishing all the way up the coast of the States, and just be aware. And luckily, no thunderstorms so far within this storm.
You mentioned surf fishing. In my younger days, many moons ago, if you listen to my kids, it was the days when dinosaurs walked the face of the earth. We would go to places like Coco on days like today, and we'd go surfing. And it was a foolish thing to do, I'll tell you, but the waves were big. The waves were really, really big. So there will be people out there doing surfing as well. Committed. They need to be committed. They need to be committed.
And kite fishing. You're going to have a couple of those guys and ladies that are
I
out
couldn't
there
imagine.
Attached to a kite and being pummeled around. And, it's a sport where you need a safety person there. And if these guys are out there, and something happens, they hit the water the wrong way, it's not going to end very well, and you're not going to get someone out there to help. So definitely, listeners up the coast, please, be safe and do your water sports inside.
Now, sometime during last week, I think it was out in Biscayne Bay. It was somewhere in South Florida. I think it was Biscayne Bay, where somebody reported seeing someone on an inner tube, and then they saw the inner tube floating away, and they figured, oh, this person's in the water somewhere, and it was an all-out search for whoever it was, and the search was called off by the afternoon because they couldn't find anybody. And the first person I thought of was you. If there was a person out there on an inner tube, out in the bay, I mean, that's, first of all, it's just not very wise. But if you're out there, you decide to go out there for whatever reason, use a little common sense. If you had common sense, you wouldn't do it to begin with. But if you're really that bent on doing it, fix it so that, God forbid, something happens, you can be found. And the easiest way to do that is to carry one of these Alice Trax, the portables. I don't know what the actual model number is, but it's a little thing. It's about the size of a credit card. It's not as thin as a credit card, but it's about that overall size. You can slip it into your pocket. It's waterproof. God forbid you get into the water. This thing will help people find you within 10 feet anywhere on the planet. And they searched all day for this person. God, I hope and pray that they're okay. They never did find a body. They never did find a person. But that was a prime example of, if you're going to go do something like that, take the extra step of safety and take something like this with you. So if, God forbid, something happens, you're out on the water. You never know. I've been out on the water, and it has been 20 miles offshore. It looks like a puddle. And I've been in the water 2 or 3 miles offshore. It looks like the end of the world. A thunderhead comes up on you, the wind picks up, and all of a sudden you've got breakers all over the place. And the scariest part of that is if it starts pouring rain, really hard, and if you don't have a compass on your boat, you can't tell which way is what because everything looks the same. It's not like when it's raining on land. When it's raining on land, excuse me, you have trees, you have houses, you have things that you can go by and say, okay, I know where I'm at. Imagine that everywhere that you look, 360 degrees around you, it all looks the same. You don't know which way you're going. So it's important to have something.
You're 100% right. And we had an older couple come from Bimini to one of the girls on the fishing team, her parents, Bimini to Florida, and they got caught up exactly in that situation. They had no electronic equipment. They've done it a million times. The seas and the weather got weird. They were going round and round and round. It didn't even realize they were going in big circles, to the point where the Coast Guard cutter had to come out and find them.
Wow.
And this was previous to me having my tracking company. And you bet they carry a tracker with them now. And because it's portable, it can be handed off to a family member, go from a boat to a jet ski to an ATV, and requires very little maintenance. And I'm not very clever, so I just named that little guy the Mini Trax. But it's great. It goes in my pocket. It goes in Angelia's knapsack. We're putting them on livestock now, doing some testing. But if something's valuable, especially a person, you want to make sure that you find that person as quickly as possible if they're overdue.
Yeah. The odds and the statistics show the faster you recover, the less chance of serious problems happening, whether that's a human being or whether that's a car or whether that's another piece of equipment that you have. If it's taken from you, the faster that you can get it back, the odds are in your favor that you get it back with the least amount or no damage at all. And what this does, something like this, what that does is it lets you know right away, whether it's somebody out in, you gave a good example. Angelia, who will be on later with us, we have she has a tracker in her backpack. When she goes fishing, Carolyn can look up. It's that song that's "I'll Be Watching You" song. You know what I'm talking about? I can't remember who did that, but there's a song that says "I'll be watching you" all the time. That's what I think of. You can be anywhere. And you can look this stuff up on your computer. You can look this stuff up on your smartphone. You can get a map to pop up. You can see where the person's at. You can get literally within 10 feet of wherever they are, anywhere on the planet. You're going to be out there on the water. You want to be safe. You want to have a good time. I mean that's why we go, is we want to have a good time. But you want to be safe. And this is something I would find to be vital if you're going to go out.
Yeah, and you know what else? People don't even really know what the extent of it can do. It could track how many hours you've been running equipment. You can download all of your latitudes and longitudes if you want to share them with anybody. And during lobster season, people don't. But, people can pull reports. What was the average speed? Owners of boats with captains can look at the speed and go, why am I filling this boat all the time? Well, they're taking it 50 miles an hour. So it's really good for managing charter fleets and jet ski fleets. And, if a kid just gets a 16-year-old gets the first car, we've got plug-in trackers now that are $15 a month for unlimited messaging that plug it right in the car, and now your new driver is protected.
Wow.
So yeah, and that you could set speed limits. You can see the first time that the car started for the day. So construction equipment, older drivers maybe. Mom's taking the car. We just gotta make sure she's all right. Just plug it in, and 3 seconds it powers up. So I'm pretty excited about that as well.
Wow, that's pretty neat. So it of course it tells you where the car's at, but it tells you the speed as well.
The speed, you can set an alert if it goes over a certain speed. You can set a geofence if it goes out of a certain area. You can see exactly where it stops anywhere for 5 minutes, whether that be gas or the store or the movie theater. You can keep a good eye on your children, and those trackers are less than $100 and require zero installation cost.
I'm just thinking to myself, thank God they didn't have those when I was a kid driving my dad's car. I would be in so much trouble. Oh, my gosh. All right, well, this is what happens when we're having a good time. We're up against a break. We're going to take a quick break. You are listening to the Fishing in Florida show this morning with Riscala and Carolyn. Our next guest will be coming up shortly, and don't go away. We'll be right back.
You're listening to the Fishing in Florida show with your host, Riscala Stevens. Don't go away. We'll be right back.
Fish Florida! When it comes to parenting, there are no perfect answers. But that's okay, because you don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Teens in foster care will love you just the same.
For more information on adoption, visit adoptuskids.org. A message from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
Thinking of moving? Before you do anything else, call Diane Whittick. She provides a concierge service. Things like having your home or condo packed and shipped. Even take care of your home repairs or upgrades. Diane has the expertise to get it done. As a seller, you will have constant contact. She will furnish you with bids on any services that might need completion. Air conditioning, plumbing, handyman, and even cleaning. Living up north and have a home to sell here in South Florida? Just give her the keys, address, and a signature. Your payment will be wired when the property is sold. That's right, Diane does it all. Thinking of buying? Diane has great listening skills. Tell her what you want, give her your budget, and like a genie, she will make your real estate wish come true. There's no regrets when you choose Diane Whittick. To reach Diane, call 561-247-5478. That's 561-247-5478.
Do you need toner for your Epson, Hewlett-Packard, Canon, Brother, Apple, or Sharp printers? Look no further than Laser Technologies. In business for over 20 years, they offer the lowest prices on toner on the web. They can also repair your laser printers and toners fast and easy. Call their expert staff today at 561-792-9600 or email us at service@laser-technologies.com for all your toner needs. All toner is shipped nationwide. Why wait? Get the lowest prices on toner. Call or email us today.
Do you have an unusual pet? Did you know that the Rainforest Clinic in Loxahatchee specializes in exotic pets? They see pets that other vets don't. Parrots and chickens, ducks, geese, turtles, snakes, goats, pigs, lizards, and even monkeys. Are you a beekeeper? Dr. Clubb, the first of her kind in the area? Yes, she takes care of bees as well. Dr. Susan Clubb has decades of experience and known around the world for her reputation as a premier avian vet. Located at 3319 E Road in Loxahatchee, just a short distance north of Okeechobee Road, you will find a modern clinic with in-house labs, which allow you to get your test answers quickly. You can find them online at www.susanclubb.com. That's www.susanclubb.com. Or you can reach her at 561-795-4878. It's Dr. Susan Clubb. That's 561-795-4878. The Rainforest Clinic located in Loxahatchee. 561-795-4878.
Want to give your pet the celebrity treatment? Have you heard of Holly Wolf Pet Grooming and Care in Royal Palm Beach?
They're located just off State Road 7 and have been servicing the area for 14 years. Holly Wolf Pet Grooming and Care is the home of the Blueberry Facial, also specializing in tartar removal with 8 years of assisting in dental procedures. Holly Wolf Pet Grooming and Care? They're more than just about dogs. They are the only experienced cat groomer in the area. They also cater to all breeds and sizes and open 6 days a week. Holly Wolf Pet Grooming and Care, located just north of the Super Walmart in Royal Palm Beach. You can find them at 250 Business Parkway. They specialize in shampoos with no extra charge. Flea and tick dips also available. Holly Wolf Pet Grooming and Care. You can give them a call at 561-793-9992. They also provide gift certificates for those looking for that special present. Holly Wolf Pet Grooming and Care. 561-793-9992. They're located in Royal Palm Beach. That number, 561-793-9992. Call for your appointment today.
This station is now the ultimate power in the universe.
We have ignition. Strap in. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
We are back. It is the Fishing in Florida show. Good morning. If you're just joining us, we will have archives set up. And the way to find them, if you go to Facebook and you find our Fishing in Florida show on Facebook, you'll see there's a link there for the archives. Give us a like while you're there. It makes us relevant in the searches. And we greatly appreciate you taking the time to listen. This morning I have Carolyn Stash. Carolyn is with Atlas Trax. And if you want to protect what you love to the max, you got to talk to my friend Carolyn over there at Atlas Trax. Welcome back, my dear.
Absolutely, Rascal, and we've got a little bit of rain coming in from one of these rain bands, but it's not too bad yet.
Yeah, I'm looking at the map and the radar map, and you're getting bands coming through right now in your area. Not too bad. The really heavy stuff is still way offshore, and I hope it stays that way. I'm seeing a very little bit of wind. Are you seeing some wind where you are?
You know, the wind is picking up with the bands. Otherwise, between bands, the palm trees really aren't blowing much. And, you know, the benefit to us, at least, is now it is high tide. So when this bad weather does come in, the tide will be a little bit lower just in case there's a little storm surge. Because we are about 4 houses from the intercoastal, so we got to watch that water a little bit.
I can't remember which storm it was. It hit the West Coast. Gosh, I can't remember which one it was. But it did something I had never seen before. I don't know if you remember this. It completely drained the bay. The bay was dry. Do you remember that?
Yeah, I do.
People were walking on the bay to the what was an island. No, that's all. Just yeah, it was weird. It was really weird.
And you know what's strange about that is it's so shallow all the way out to about 200 miles. And you know what? That was Hurricane Irma.
Okay. I had never seen anything like that where, I mean, my gosh, I've seen just about every hurricane that comes through South Florida. I've lived here most of my life. I had never seen anything like that. The bay was just dry, and people were walking along, and there were lobster traps and crab traps. And it's just, wow, it's like no big deal. You know, we're just walking on a sandbar. Oh, my gosh.
I looked that up real quick, and as a matter of fact, it says that was probably a once-in-a-lifetime occurrence of draining out the Gulf Coast like that.
That was just unbelievable. To look out. Now, I have a cousin that lives in Tampa, and I have some friends that live in Tampa, and they took a video because they were telling me. I said, take a video. If you get your phone out, take a video of it and send it to me. I was astonished. I just couldn't believe it. I mean, they said, oh, the water's gone. I said, I'm thinking the water's gone. Yeah, it's okay. So it's really low tide, but there's water. Oh, no. There was no water. It was like somebody took a giant vacuum cleaner and sucked it all out. Never, ever seen anything like that. I wonder if...
Yeah, and that wasn't too long ago. That was 2017.
I wonder if how quick all of it happened. That's something I'm not sure about. Whether it happened just a matter of hours or whether it happened in a day. But it was something that was like something out of a movie. This doesn't happen in real life. The whole bay is gone. It's just like, where did all that water go? That, again, it's just a testament to the power of these storms. And of course, Irma was a heck of a lot more than what we're seeing today. But nevertheless, these storms are can easily expand very quickly, and that's really what kept me up last night. Is August 24th of '92, we had a hurricane come up on the south part of Miami, southern part. And they said, well, it's a Category 1. It doesn't look like it's going to do much. You just have to be prepared because, it is a category. It's a hurricane. And prior to coming on shore, this thing literally exponentially grew into a monster. It was like a giant tornado, if you will. Lost our home, lost the entire neighborhood. That's probably what kept me up most of the night last night, is thinking about, oh my gosh, if this thing does this again, I'm going to go freak out. I can't.
Now here's the big question: were you in the home in Miami when this was happening?
No, we were very fortunate. It was actually August the 24th, 1992 was my 19th wedding anniversary, and we were celebrating. We had a timeshare in Orlando, and we were in Orlando celebrating our anniversary, and then we got word that this was coming up, and my brother still lives in Miami. I said, I got to come down. He said, don't even think about coming down. The place is a madhouse. And, that's just people who are not, they don't plan well, I guess is maybe a way to put it. The last minute comes up and there's this panic to get everything done. The hardware stores are a mess. The grocery stores are a mess. It's just tough to get out there with people in this state of mind. And when I told him I've got to come down, I got to board up my home, he just there's no point. The stores are out of wood, and even if you could get in the store, you probably wouldn't get out alive because people are just freaking out so bad. My home ended up going through the storm with no covering at all. The hurricane was powerful enough that it literally lifted the roof up off of the house and twisted it, cocked it, if you will. And as a result of that, water, the rain and all of that came in to the home. When I walked in the home, all the walls, drywall acts, it's kind of like a sponge. Once it gets wet, forget it, pal, especially if it gets soaked. It has no strength. It completely just deteriorates, just falls down. When I walked in the home, all the drywall everywhere was gone. It had just fallen on the floor. The drywall, the ceiling was gone. It had fallen on the floor. It was a terrible smell in the house, I guess from the drywall being wet and trying to dry and gosh knows what. It was, couldn't stay in the house more than a couple of minutes. Had to get out. And from that point forward, we just became homeless, immediately became homeless. And stayed that way until we moved up to here to Palm Beach. Once we came up here to Palm Beach, and that took about 3 or 4 weeks because we didn't realize in the what was going on and all of that. There was 300,000 or 150,000 people that were affected that were all moving. So we would call about a house. We would be literally on the way to go look at the house when we get a call from them. It's already rented. It's already rented over and over. And we went from Davie to Fort Lauderdale to Deerfield, just moving up further and further north. And finally, when we got to Palm Beach is when they said, yeah, we got one. I said, please, we're coming from Miami. Don't rent it until we get there. So we did. It worked out for us. So fortunately, but this is what I think about. This is why I was up all night last night thinking, oh my gosh, I will not be happy until this thing just goes away, go far, far away. All right.
I'll tell you what I had to do. Do we have a guest on?
Yeah, I've got, let's see, I think it's Jeff Tilley is on with me, and Jeff is with, he is with Oyster Boss, LLC. Let's see if that's him. Jeff, is that you?
Yes, good morning. It is me.
Good morning, sir. Go ahead, Carolyn.
Oyster Boss.
Good morning, Jeff. Welcome to the show.
Thank you very much. Glad to be here.
Where are you at, Jeff? I know you're in Florida. Are you in North Florida?
Yeah, I'm in the small town right there where the Panhandle connects to the peninsula called Sopchoppy.
Oh, yeah, I remember that. Sopchoppy. I remember that. I spent some time up in Panama City. They have some really strange names up there. I'm trying to think of this one. Weewahichika. That's another one that wasn't too far from.
Yeah, that's right. Indian names is what I'm told.
Mm-hmm.
Is the origin of some of those names. Yeah, Sopchoppy is an old Indian name that means dark river or dark soil or something like that.
Oh, wow.
But yeah, we're kind of positioned between Panama City and Tallahassee, if you can imagine that. So
Oh,
out in
my.
the woods, pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I understand
So,
that.
good to meet you all.
Yeah, well, nice to meet you, my friend. The name of the company kind of gives it away, Oyster Boss. So tell me a little bit about what you do.
Yeah, so aquaculture, oyster aquaculture, shellfish aquaculture has really become a thing in the state in the last decade, and we've got some pristine areas up in this part of the state where
Oh, man. Do
such
they?
things can happen. Yeah, obviously lack of development, lack of population, lack of industrialization has left this part of Florida relatively untouched in terms of its human impact and human footprint. So something as sensitive as an oyster grows very well in this part of the state, and we have a lot of what are called approved waters by the state government where you can do this sort of thing. So we got into it about 5 years ago, and when I say we, I'm referring to my son, 25-year-old son. When he graduated high school, he went to work for the local wildlife refuge up here, St. Mark's National Wildlife Refuge. And after a couple of years in that group, he decided to go to enroll in Tallahassee Community College's aquaculture program. And when he came out of it, it was game on. We stood up the business, and I gave him the task of growing a beautiful oyster, great tasting oyster, and then all he had to do was bring it to the hill, and I would take it from there. So I've been doing the marketing and the administrative side, the processing. So Oyster Boss is actually not just a farming operation; it's also a processor, and we've got a couple of brands, oyster brands, that we've taken to the marketplace.
That's one of the things I miss about Panama City. They had places called oyster bars. You could sit down and just order them by the dozen. My brother-in-law, he would eat 3 or 4 dozen oysters. I couldn't do more than a dozen. After a dozen, I'd start getting queasy. But it was really good, really. Back then, this is, of course, many, many years ago, back then it was like a dime. There were 10 cents a piece or something like that. So you could easily sit down and gouge on these things.
Yeah, those were the good old days. Of course, that's back when a pack of cigarettes was 35 cents.
So back then, they sold them in, I don't know what it was called. I can't remember what it was called, like a burlap sack. Do they still sell them like that, in a big burlap sack?
Well, as with most things involving the trade, there's not a short answer to anything.
Mm-hmm.
The wild harvest oysters have always been sold by weight. Mm-hmm. And the standard term used was a bushel bag. I think that's what
it was.
To. Yep. And a bushel bag, the traditional weight of a bushel bag was 60 pounds. Over on the aquaculture side, the farmers buy oyster seed from the nurseries and the hatcheries by the piece. And so, therefore, I believe, no one's actually ever said this to me, but I believe that must have started the tradition that we also sell by the piece. So we buy by the piece and we sell by the piece. So it's hard to make this correlate, but we sell in either a 50 count bag or a 100 count bag.
Mm-hmm.
And how do you correlate that to a 60 pound bushel? Well, it takes about 250 oysters to make a 3-inch oysters to make a bushel, a 60 pound bushel. So if you've got 250 oysters in one bag, a bushel bag,
mm-hmm.
and you can compare that to maybe a 100 count a bag of aquaculture oysters, now you can kind of work the math out in your head as to how the two items correlate. So I had to figure that out pretty on, because everyone's talked about bushel bags. Hey man, y'all got bushels? And then you have to kind of
it's kind of, it's kind of like a hot dog. You're going to put it in a bun. You're going to stick it on a hamburger bun.
That's
so
right.
You said a couple of things that caught my ear. One was seed. These things are like, and I know maybe this is oversimplified, but seed like a plant seed. You can plant them like that.
Yeah. That's a very, very much a good correlation there.
Wow.
So the way the state of Florida, the legislature crafted our industry, we are not allowed. It's not legal for us to harvest wild seed out of the water. And there's a pretty technical explanation for that. But just take it for its face value. We can't do it.
Mm-hmm.
They don't let us do it.
I didn't know there was such a thing. A seed.
Well, when a boy oyster and a girl oyster get together, in the warm months of the year, they spawn, and that introduces trillions of what are called spat into the water column, and of course the spat just simply join the gazillions of other teeny tiny little critters that are in the water as well, plankton, etc. And anyway, that's part of how the coastal waters in Florida are just so rich and so wonderful. Is there's so many of those kinds of things in there. And the spat will float. They'll float free for about 72 hours, and then they'll attach themselves to something. And that something could be a dock piling behind your house, in a waterway of some sort, or rock, or another oyster. So that's how they propagate. That's how they get to where they can get situated to grow and become something
amazing.
As an oyster. Yeah. But anyway, the seed houses, and there's a handful of them around the state. The seed houses do this more or less artificially. They provoke the male oyster to spawn with the female oyster, etc. And then they harvest those free floating larvae, not allowing them to attach themselves to anything. And then we get basically big sacks of these seed when they're about the size of your fingernail. So a 6 millimeter seed is the standard.
Wow.
Yeah. So we actually buy that seed by the gazillions from the seed houses and transport them in a little cooler trailer out to where we put them in the water and start their process of growing for us. That's part one of this. Part two is, you can imagine, I don't know if you've ever done this or not, but you can imagine that if you open up a spawned out oyster, an oyster that's already spent so much of its energy on regenerating the next generation, then that oyster is referred to, at least in our part of the country, they call it a poor. That's a poor oyster. And a spawned out oyster is mealy. The flesh of the oyster is not firm. It's not that it's inedible. It's just that it's not a good experience. So a spawned out oyster is just simply one that needs to be put back in the water and left there. So how do we as an industry cope with having about 3 or 4 months or 5 months out of the year where most of the oysters are in this condition? Well, what really started the aquaculture industry was a very innovative product that basically changes the oyster a little bit genetically. And so the seed that we buy from the seed houses does not spawn. And that is referred to technically as a triploid oyster. So we put these oysters, some of my crop, I don't plant 100% triploids, but some of my crop I'll purchase these modified oysters because they will grow out to market size and will not ever spawn. And now I can make sure my customers have a firm, great tasting, great looking, great experience for their clients. And anyway, so it's two different types of seed. One being triploid, does not spawn, and the other being diploid, which does spawn. And I advocate that oyster farmers should use some diploids on their farms, because diploids in the spawning process will put things back into the water column, and that's not a bad thing. So that's one of the things that I advocate for. Yeah.
Carolyn,
how long does it take for a baby oyster to be ready for the market? How long? How many months? How many years? How does that work? And how do you get the water area as your area to plant?
It's a great question. So in Florida, we have a very unique advantage on other parts of the country, because it only takes maybe 8 to 10 months from the time that we put one of these seeds that I'm talking about, the size of your fingernail. It only takes about that period of time for that baby oyster to grow into something that's marketable. So it'll grow to 3 inches in that period of time, and nowhere else in the country does that happen. Other oyster production areas, like the Northeast, it can take up to 3 years.
Oh my goodness!
To reach market size. Yeah,
wow.
Yeah. So we've got the right engine, we've got the right everything in this part of the country.
When you're
how often do you harvest? Is that something that's every day, or is that something you go out once a week?
Well, we would like to be able to harvest weekly throughout the year. But a lot of times it's hard for us to get seed. There's a big demand on the seed houses right now to produce enough seed. As a matter of fact, there's a very much discussed unavailability of seed in the industry right now. But if we could get seed at every purchase point that we'd like to get it, then we would be able to have a harvest year round and be able to get out on the water, weekly or daily to obtain that harvest. And I'll tell you what that actually means to Oyster Boss here in just a few minutes. But the the situation is that right now, for example, this past week, our harvest was pretty slim. So that means that a lot of our restaurants that wanted our product couldn't get it. We had to kind of ration it around a little bit. And that's not a good thing. You don't want you don't want your customers looking elsewhere for somebody else's product if they can get it.
That also spikes, right? That also spikes the price of it as well when that happens.
Well, not at the wholesale level. It doesn't. We don't tamper with the wholesale price with the restaurants.
Oh, interesting.
I just feel like if we do that sort of thing, it doesn't encourage really good long-term relations.
Mm-hmm.
So they need to know from us that what they can expect. Now there are things that kick in, like for example COVID. Before the COVID crisis hit the industry, the restaurant industry, our wholesale prices to most customers were about 68 cents per oyster, and after COVID it's now significantly lower than that. And I'd like to be able to walk it back up, but there's just not enough demand in the marketplace yet for it. The industry, the restaurant industry, as I'm sure you all are quite well aware, is really taken a bad hit with the COVID crisis.
Yeah. A lot of them, especially the restaurant industry, have taken just. Oh, I could talk for hours about that. Just beyond me how we've allowed ourselves to get to this point. I'm curious about. So where you grow these things at? Is it backwater? Is it? I'm completely ignorant, and I'm learning. I didn't even realize there was such a thing as seed. So where do you grow them at?
Well, so there are a number of places up here that are quite well known for, historically speaking, for oyster production. We are in the same neck of the woods as Apalachicola Bay, and Apalachicola Bay has the perhaps maybe the fame for many generations, being a highly productive oyster area. And right now, there are no oysters coming out of Apalachicola Bay.
Wow!
For a variety of reasons, the oyster crop in that particular area has suffered. Basically, the issues began back at the BP oil spill, so it's never really recovered from that. But we're in that same area, and we farm in this little estuary called Alligator Harbor, which actually is one of the brands that we use for our products. And we call them Alligator Harbor All-Stars. And so we have 10.5 acres inside Alligator Harbor. And back to the question about harvest, we are actually out there harvesting more or less every day. There's always something to be done on the farm, whether you're perhaps maybe repairing some gear that needs that, or perhaps you're planting new seed, or you're harvesting oysters that are now harvest size. So just imagine it's almost like any farm would be. There's something to do every day. So I've got a water crew that's headed up by my son, who's also my partner, as I mentioned earlier, and that's their thing. They're out there at the break of day, and that just, unless the weather pushes them out there, that's just how it works.
Wow. Well, one of the.
So how deep are the oysters? So when they're out farming, are they in the water? They're doing something from a boat? How are they doing that?
Yeah. So another great question. Oh gosh. So the leases that we have, the farms that we have, the minimum water depth on those farms is 3 feet, and the maximum water depth is about 8 feet. So it's a combination of all of the above. In some cases, they're actually in the water. Maybe waist deep or something like that, working, basically standing there working the cages, and there'll be one of our boats nearby. We take several boats to the water each morning, but in some cases maybe they're working over the gunnels of the boat, the side of the boat, and that would be obviously in the deeper water. In the winter time, when we can take advantage of what is known in this part of the state as winter tides, they can actually walk almost the entire the entire lease, and so we'll do a lot of bottom structure work and repair at that time of the year when we can actually just do that by walking the entire lease.
Wow.
So, but they're out there every day almost.
Well, Jeff, we've actually run over time a little bit. Before we go, if anybody wants to utilize your services, is there a way that they can reach you?
Yeah, it should be pretty simple for anyone listening. Just go to oysterboss.com, and everything's there.
Okay.
Look us up, and we'll be more than happy to help any way we can. Another thing that I've done several times for folks from downstate is they'll be up here on vacation and want to get a tour of the farm, and so we do that on a very regular basis.
Wow.
Yeah. So if you guys, anytime you're up this way, let me know. And
absolutely, and you ship product too. We can order and get oyster sent down to South Florida.
Well, so again, kind of like everything with oystering, it's not a short explanation. Because of the fact that we cannot get FedEx or UPS to assure us of a delivery, a next day delivery within a certain period of time, in the hot weather months of the year, we have discontinued that service for now. So normally you would be able to go to the website, place an order, and have it the next day. But because of the concerns that we have that the oysters stay cold enough inside our little styrofoam shipping containers, and we put cold packs in there, well, if something messes up and they don't get those oysters to you to that afternoon instead of that morning, then the transaction has broken down and just didn't work. So we have discontinued that service until around October. Until October 1. We'll restart it at that point. And I don't know what we're going to do in the future, but we just decided about 3 weeks ago that it just wasn't working. We were refunding too many transactions. And so in the individual shipments, we currently are curtailing those for the rest of the warm weather months, and then the wholesale shipping, of course, we can negotiate that directly with restaurants.
Excellent.
Thank you so much, Jeff, for being on.
Yeah, appreciate it, Jeff.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for taking the time. One of the things I enjoy about this show so much is I'm constantly learning. I never knew that there were seeds for oysters. I never had. I'm so ignorant. Had no idea.
Well, if I can get you up here, we'll open up a few of those seeds.
Oh, that'd be great. All right, my friend. God bless you. Wish you an awesome weekend. Well, what's left of it here anyway.
Thank you very much. Yeah.
We'll look forward to having you back on sometime in the future. We'll have you back on. Give us an update with what's going on. I'm going to let Carolyn say goodbye to you, and we'll take a real quick break.
Jeff, thanks for everything you do out there. We'd love to get a tour up there in the wintertime.
Oh, please. Call anytime. Just jump on the website and contact me. Take care.
All right. Thank you.
You're listening to the Fishing in Florida show with your host, Scala Stevens. Don't go away. We'll be right back.
When it comes to parenting, there are no perfect answers. But that's okay, because you don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Teens in foster care will love you just the same.
For more information on adoption, visit adoptuskids.org. A message from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
Being a dad is an adventure full of special moments.
A cruise!
Surprise!
Unexpected moments.
I got this.
And even awkward moments.
Okay, Dad, thank you.
But every moment you spend with your kids, even the smallest moments, can make the biggest impact on your child's life. So take a moment to be a dad today.
I grab my fishing pole and cast it in the water. I fish until dawn. Oh my, I caught a shark. I'm fishing and blowing on when the sun shines all day. I just caught me a grouper. So fishing and blowing on. Oh yeah, fishing and blowing on.
Good morning from the Sunshine State. Broadcasting from Palm Beach County, it's the Fishing in Florida show. Sundays from 8 to 10 a.m. on the WCET FM network. And now, here's your host, Riscala.
All right, we are back. It is Fishing in Florida show. Good morning. We are enjoying the The wonders of nature this morning here in South Florida. We are looking at a hurricane just east of where I'm at, not too far off. But we have been blessed because really it's not really bad where I'm at. And I'll bring Carolyn on here in a minute. She can tell you about where she's at. She's a little south of me. I'm a little north of her. It has really not been very bad at all. And I thank God for that because it could get really bad really quick. What are you seeing down there, Carolyn? Any wind? Any rain?
You know, the wind is picking up a little bit. I feel like a Weather Channel reporter. The wind is picking up a little bit. I can see it from the northeast. The trees are starting to blow a little bit. I've got some rain on the window, so I think we got another band coming through.
Mm-hmm.
No debris or anything is rolling around the backyard, but I think the wind's still going to pick up to about 60 miles an hour, maybe over the next couple of hours.
Ooh, not looking good there. Well, I think we have our next guest on, and he might be able to help you with regard. I may be speaking out of turn here, but he might be able to help you with regard to getting the oysters because I think that's one of the things he does. And his name is Ben Barler, and he's with Saltwater Reefer Seafood Trading Company. Good morning, Ben.
Well, good morning, guys. How you doing?
Good morning. Sunday.
Yeah, you kind of broke up a little bit, Carolyn. Say it again.
I said Sunday, Ben. Where are you located?
I'm actually located out of Hudson, Florida. So I'm over on the West Coast.
So you're not quite what we're experiencing over here on the East Coast.
No. So I was listening to your conversation earlier about the wind and if you've seen any rain yet with the approaching storm.
It's pretty clean.
Absolutely.
For me, it's pretty clean where I'm at.
Well, I was listening to a conversation with Jeff Tilley, and basically what I'm gonna do is I'm a food distributor that connects aquaculture farmers with other larger markets to sell their products. So similar to Jeff raising and growing his oysters, is I help distribute his oysters down south in Central and South Florida. I have other aquaculture farmers that do like clams, and I do the same thing for them. This way, that they put a lot of sweat and equity and time into growing their product, but they really don't have that distribution, the network set up to get their product, out of their local market. And that's what I help them do.
So is it all over Florida or all over South Florida?
Well, right now we're primarily focusing on Central Florida. So we're talking about like Hernando, Pasco, Pinellas, Hillsborough, and then all over to Orlando is where we're doing distributions. And we're doing about 50-50 distributions with wholesale and retail. So with the COVID, pandemic that's been going on, we've been doing a lot of retail home deliveries. So for people who want some of like Jeff's oysters, we've been setting up home deliveries so that we can deliver 50 to 100 count sacks of oysters straight to their door.
Wow. So, but you don't come down quite this far, huh?
Right now, we don't have a standard route that comes all the way down to the southeastern Florida. No, we don't.
Go ahead, Carolyn. I apologize. I spoke at the same time you did.
No, that's okay. I was just thinking about like Joe. We have a good friend that comes on the show, and he actually goes out and catches his own fish and does some home delivery.
Yeah,
so it's nice during especially COVID that you're able to provide retail and home deliveries as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like every week we solicit oysters, not oysters, but orders, and anytime we can customize an order or do something special for someone, like if they want some fresh fish or scallops, some ask for crabs, like live blue crabs. I reach out to some of my peers and I see if I can put together a special order so we can make those home deliveries even more special. Because no one wants to go to multiple markets to try and get that special dinner they want, especially if it's for a birthday or anniversary.
Yeah. an all-in-one kind of place when it comes to seafood.
Now, scallop season, isn't it? From June to September, so it's prime time for scallops right now on the West Coast over there.
Yes. Scalloping is very popular right now. It's a great, fun family activity, and it's especially good because, even though there's a lot of people out scalloping, you're a small group on a boat, and the boat captains and everything make sure everyone's staying safe, and they even help you clean the scallops after you have harvested them. So people are enjoying this time of year, and it's a great fun activity. But some people just don't want to be out in the sun because it does get hot. And so
You ain't kidding.
when that time comes, we're always glad to bring them bay scallops or sea scallops straight to their door.
Wow.
Can you tell us the difference between bay and sea scallops?
She beat me to it.
Well, basically, it's about the size. A bay scallop is a small scallop that has a diameter of about a dime.
Oh, really? Wow.
These are the larger ones that are usually about, larger than a quarter, maybe almost a $50 size in diameter.
That's a big difference.
Yeah, do they both taste the same? It's just the size? Is there one that's more popular?
The sea scallops are more popular. You find those on most restaurant menus, but the bay scallops, there's nothing better to me. There's nothing better than frying them up with a little bit of butter and sautéing them because they just taste amazing. But the sea scallops are pretty much the most popular ones around across all of Florida.
This is torture. You know that, right? I have no access to. I remember this. I don't know if you heard when I was talking to Jeff. I was in the Air Force for. I was in the Air Force for almost 4 years, but I spent quite a bit of time up in Panama City, and I got spoiled. Oh my gosh, we used to get bushels of oysters. We used to go crabbing. I would go crabbing with my future father-in-law, and we would come back with just a big old barrel of crabs, and his wife would, my future mom-in-law would cook up crab gumbo, and oh my gosh, I'm thinking about all that as you're talking about all this stuff, and my mouth is literally watering.
Yeah.
Thinking about all this stuff. Oh my gosh.
I remember I grew up. I'm born and raised here in Florida, and I remember going out with my family when I was a kid. We would walk down the beach with one of those big styrofoam coolers and nets, and just scoop up blue crabs and toss them in the cooler.
Yeah.
And and it was that easy. But those days are long gone.
Sadly.
And as I grew up, and in the past 10 years or so, I noticed a dramatic drop off in the available of local sourced Florida seafood in restaurants. And I was always wondering why. Where did it go? Why am I getting Texas, Virginia, Louisiana, Alabama sourced seafood, or even out of country seafood instead of Florida? Because we have it here. And that's primarily why I got in this business, is because I wanted to bring back that locally sourced seafood into these areas that is missing it now, and to bring back that old Florida, taste, that old salty taste that we grew up loving.
Yeah.
And I was going to ask, so this is your business, you started it, and you run the business with a vision. We love focusing on small
family, yeah,
and fisherman business.
And Jeff was a family-owned business, him and his son, small, locally family-owned business. I'm a promoter of small businesses, preferably family-owned businesses, but small businesses, because I know when you're dealing with a small business and you're a customer of theirs, they don't look at you as a customer. They look at you as like an extended family. And that's something that, you were saying a lot of this has gone, you don't see it, the seafood that you're talking about, it's gone by the wayside. We don't see it anymore. We don't see this kind of relationship anymore, generally speaking. When you're dealing with a small company, they typically will go above and beyond to make sure that you're happy, because they want to make sure that the relationship continues. And this is something that has kind of fallen short. We've become numbers, all of us, to large corporations, and heaven help you if you have a problem and you need to speak with one of them. Who knows how long you'll be on the phone? And that is so different when we're dealing with a small company. It's just totally 180 degrees. If you're dealing with a small company, there's an issue of some sort. Typically, the issue is resolved very quickly, because they don't have to go, well, let me see, I have to talk to my, whoever, my boss, and then his boss will have to talk to their boss, and their boss. It doesn't, we don't do that in small companies. We just resolve the issue as best as we can, as fast as we can. And
exactly. You really don't see that red tape, that people have to weed through.
Yep.
And also, by us being a small company, and what we do is we are given the chance to really champion someone's brand. So, like you were talking to Jeff Tilley and Oyster Boss about what they do. Well, when I go out and I'm talking to potential new clients about oysters, I get to really tell that story. I get to tell the story of Jeff Tilley and Reed Tilley and their farm, because I've been there, I've seen it. And so I can bring it alive with the product that they're eating.
Yeah.
And it's not just something in a bag or a box.
Yeah.
So.
Well, Ben, I appreciate you taking the time to call in. Now, before we go, do you have a website, or how do people get a hold of you?
The best place to get a hold of me is through my Facebook page as under Benny B Seafood. So it's just a quick search on Facebook, and you'll find me. And there's a lot of photos and information about our delivery. But yeah, Benny B Seafood on Facebook.
Oh, excellent. Well, let me give Carolyn an opportunity to say goodbye to you. We're going to take another very quick break, and we'll be back again. Ben, thank you so much. Informative. This is what I love about doing the show. From learning. Learned a lot this morning. I never knew oysters had seeds. I'm still trying to get over that. All right, Carolyn, go ahead.
Absolutely, Benny. Thanks for calling in. I'm going to have to try and see if I can get out in the rain and find some oysters somewhere on the East Coast here today, I think. You guys got us hungry, but be safe.
All right, thank you.
God bless.
You're listening to the Fishing in Florida show with your host, Scala Stevens. Don't go away. We'll be right back.
Do you need toner for your Epson, Hewlett-Packard, Canon, Brother, Apple, or Sharp printers? Look no further than Laser Technologies. In business for over 20 years, they offer the lowest prices on toner on the web. They can also repair your laser printers and toners fast and easy. Call their expert staff today at 561-792-9600 or email us at service@laser-technologies.com for all your toner needs. All toner is shipped nationwide. Why wait? Get the lowest prices on toner. Call or email us today.
Listen and imagine. It takes 5 seconds to send a text, and for those 5 seconds, you're driving blind. Life is worth more than a text. Stay alive. Don't text and drive.
I grab my fishing pole and cast it in the water. I fish until dawn. Oh my, I caught a shark. I'm fishing it on. When the sun shines all day. It just caught me a grouper. So I'm fishing it on. Oh yeah. Fishing it on.
Good morning from the Sunshine State. Broadcasting from Palm Beach County, it's the Fishing in Florida Show. Sundays from 8 to 10 a.m. on the WCET FM network. And now, here's your host, Riscala.
All right, we are back. It is Fishing in Florida. Of course, today we're not. Today we may be flying away in Florida because we are looking at a hurricane that's just about 30, 40 miles, maybe 50 miles due east of where I'm at right now. The weather, I am surprised. The weather is relatively calm. It does look like it's about 6 o'clock at night, or during these days at 7:30 at night. So it looks almost dark outside, but very little wind, very little rain. Just a lot of heavy clouds out there. Are you seeing the same thing, Carolyn?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm seeing the same thing. And I just logged on to the Deerfield Beach Pier Cam, which is kind of fun. And it can actually show you the rate at which the waves are going at the pilings underneath the pier. And it looks like it's the surf is probably a good 8 to 10 feet just on the beach.
Wow. Well, before we bring on our next guests, I want to say a quick thank you to Marina Rock Radio. This is Yacht Rock's sister station. If you have the TuneIn app, you can find us on Marina Rock Radio, of course, every Sunday morning from 8 to 10 a.m. Just tune in Marina Rock, and you'll find us there. Another easy way to find us is to download our app. The app is absolutely free. It has no ads. It has no spyware. It has no push notifications. Just a way to listen to the network. So if you happen to have the app and you turn it on at 8 o'clock in the morning on Sunday, you're going to hear us. If you turn it on at another time, you're not going to hear us. But you'll hear whatever's on the network. Another way is if you're a Facebook fan, if you go to Facebook and give us a like while you're there, click on Contact Us, and that will connect you directly to our live server. A big thank you to WCET-FM. That is our home network, and we recently became an LLC, and congratulations to the team that was responsible for that. We are moving forward. The station continues to grow. If you want to know a little bit more about WCET-FM, if you go to our website, www.wcetradio.com, you'll find a whole bunch of information about us, what we do, and how long we've been around, and just a lot of stuff there. We are a subscriber-supported station, so if you feel led, we could definitely use a donation, because we don't take on big commercial accounts, primarily because they try to tell us what we can and cannot say. And for some of the other shows that are on the network, they don't like that. They want to be able to have the freedom to say whatever they want to say. That's moral and legal and ethical. But if you understand where I'm coming from, they may say something that may be controversial, and these people, they don't like that, but it's something that needs to be said. So we don't take on the big boys. We stay with the little people who are most important to us. Again, it's kind of like a small company, and in a way it is. There's 4 of us involved in the evolution of this, and it is like a small company. We look at our subscribers as a kind of an extended family, and we want to make sure everybody's happy. And one of the ways that we do that, we provide a wide variety of shows on this network. This morning, of course, this is the fishing show, but if you were listening last night, you would have heard me do the political show. And then if you listen Monday through Friday from 9 p.m. to midnight, you'll hear Michael Vera do his show, which is, again, covers everything. His favorite tagline is, "We cover everything." That's what the WCET is about. We cover everything, and that's what he does on his show. I love fishing because in my life's experience, fishing was the glue, if you will. It was a vital component of our family. I come from a small-knit family, 4 people. My mom and dad are gone now, God bless them. But my brother and I are still very close. He is my best friend in the world. I believe part of that was because my mom, thank God, loved fishing. So we would do fishing 3 and 4 times a week. And as a young child, it was extremely exciting to me to be able to go fishing. It was almost like the lottery in a way. You may go fishing and you may catch a little one, or you may go fishing and you may get the grand prize, or you may go fishing and get nothing. And it was a way to learn life's lessons as well. There were times when we were looking forward to going fishing somewhere and prepared the best that we could, went fishing, didn't catch anything. And it was kind of a letdown, but my dad would explain to us, this just happens in life. You plan for things and you do the best you can, and it may not happen the way that you want it to. This is part of life. So it was a learning experience of life for me as well. So that's one of the main reasons I do what I do. We're family-oriented. We are very supportive of family-oriented small businesses because I believe that's the backbone of this country. And now, after experiencing what we've experienced with this pandemic, it is more important, more vital than ever that whatever way you can, you support small businesses. Let me welcome back my my co-host, Carolyn Stash. She is with Atlas Trax. If you want to protect what you love to the max, who are you going to call? Welcome back, Carolyn.
Oh, thank you very much, Rascala, for having me on.
So I'm going to have a couple of guests coming up here. One of them is little JJ. He's a 9-year-old angler. I believe he went out for the first time. JJ's got a very unique and very heartwarming story to tell us. And then the person who was kind of putting all that together for him, that was Rob Robinson. Rob has been on the show a couple of times in the past. Rob's nickname is the Bobcat Man, and Rob is more than a unique man. Rob is probably one in a million, if you will. It's not very many people that are willing to give literally a part of one of their organs for somebody they don't know. And I think, if I'm right, I think that's what Rob did. So let me bring Rob on real quick to tell us about little JJ, and I want to bring little JJ on to tell us his experience. Little JJ's 9 years old, and he caught himself a heck of a fish. Right, so let me bring Robert on. Welcome, Robert.
Good morning, Rascala.
Go ahead, Carolyn.
Good morning, Robert. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
So, Rob, you are with Forever Outdoors, and Forever Outdoors are the people who took little JJ out. Is that right? Tell us a little bit about that.
Yes, sir. I'm founder of Forever Outdoors. I did donate a kidney, and I founded Forever Outdoors to promote organ donation and my love of the outdoors. So we do outdoor adventures for all different types of people. And a friend of mine from Georgia brought JJ, which is Jesse James is his name, and his brother Jeremiah down to Port Orange, and we had a boat captain, Captain Marshall Wallet, donate us a trip, and we were supposed to go flounder fishing, but due to the weather, we had to stick inshore, and we had a great time.
And I think, if I'm not mistaken, this was the first time for them? Is that right?
First time they had ever been on a boat before,
Wow, okay.
and they even got to drive, and they were just tickled to death. I mean, it was just an awesome time. I can remember the first time I drove a boat. You know, that's just lifelong memories there, you know.
Wow. These are the kind of things that warm my heart, my friend. So it's Forever Outdoors, and Forever Outdoors' focus is to bring attention to organ donation. Would that be correct?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. And as the one who founded it, and again, I kind of quickly mentioned, when I tell a little bit of the story, that Rob is a hunter, and he went out to a gentleman's farm. I'm giving you the Reader's Digest version of this, but you'll get the gist of the story. He went out to a gentleman's farm to be able to hunt on his farm, and he got permission from the man, and he stayed in a tent for. He'd done this repeatedly, stayed in a tent for a couple of times that he'd gone out there. And this gentleman, America was like this at one time. It was trusting of people. It was the ability to communicate with other people, regardless of your background, regardless of your skin color. We were able to get along with each other. This man who owned the farm said to Rob, "Why don't you just come stay in my house?" And Rob took him up on it and learned that the man was, if he didn't get a kidney pretty quick, I think it was a kidney, pretty quick, he wasn't going to be around very long. And Rob said, "Well, we can't have that. I'm going to give you one of mine." How many people do you know would do something? And this is a stranger. This is a man who's really not related to him in any way, shape, or form. He has nothing to gain from any of this. He was just repaying kindness with kindness. Isn't that something that we really need today more than ever? We need to repay kindness with kindness. And as a result of that, we have two human beings who are both very happy, who are both reaching out and helping other people. The farmer, is he still around, Rob?
Gil has since passed. He had 5 extra years of life, and every day is precious. So
You gave him 5 extra years of life. And let me tell you, when it comes down, I remember when my dad had cancer, and they gave him 3 months, and they said, "Well, if you do this, you might get another 6 or 7 months." That was like, you couldn't put a price on that. So to give somebody 5 years, is amazing. I'm still very awed by that, my friend. Thank you. It takes a special person with a special heart to be able to do something like that. God bless you. And I hope that he does tremendously for what you've done.
He does every day.
All right, I want to bring on JJ, little JJ, and he's going to tell us a little bit about his experience. Little JJ, welcome.
Hey.
How are you?
Good. I'm doing good.
What did you think of the fishing trip?
It was good.
You can get excited.
So this was the first time you went fishing? Or was the first time that you were the first time you went fishing or first time on a boat?
Actually, both.
And how big was the fish that you got?
More than 10 inches.
Oh, more.
That fish was as big as he was, I tell you.
I saw the picture.
Monster.
I saw the picture. He's not fooling me because I saw the picture. So JJ, a little bit of background. I understand that you you had heart surgery? Is that what you had?
Yes, sir.
And how do you feel now?
I feel good.
And when you went fishing, did you get exhausted? Did they wear you out?
Yes, sir.
What was it like to drive the boat?
It's pretty fun.
Yeah? Would you want to do it again?
Yes, sir.
Yeah? Do you remember how many fish you caught that day?
Yes, I think so.
Tell
Like about 5.
Oh, my goodness. So you weren't messing around.
Oh, he caught a lot more than 5. He caught a bunch.
Let me see.
So what kind of fish were you catching?
I was caught a redfish
Mm-hmm.
and a snapper.
Ooh, nice.
Mangrove snapper.
Oh, my goodness.
Snapper.
Did you
Did you get to JJ? Did you get to bring him home and eat him?
And we caught a keeper.
The keeper.
We didn't take him home and eat.
So I didn't understand what he said. He did or he did not?
He did not.
Oh.
No, sir.
It wasn't...
we caught a couple of black drum that we kept to eat.
It wasn't seasoned? Is that what it is?
The mangrove snapper has to be a certain size,
Yeah.
and they were small, and the redfish were too big, so we had to throw them back.
Got one too small and got one too big.
Yep.
So JJ, how long were you fishing for? All day or just a little bit of the day? Did you go out all day?
Only for 6 hours.
Only 6 hours.
Wow, that's pretty good for your first time on the boat.
You aren't kidding. That's a heck of a deal.
Who all went with you? Who else went with you on the boat?
Captain and Uncle Keith and Jeremiah.
Jeremiah.
Wow.
Now, Jeremiah...
Uncle Keith. Uncle Keith, he's a Navy veteran, and he's also a kidney recipient.
Oh, wow.
He's the one that brought him down.
Oh, my goodness.
They live in Waycross, Georgia.
So I take it this was... Were you fishing backwater, Rob? Were you out in the bay or what?
We were fishing the river at near Smyrna Beach.
Oh, yeah, okay. Yeah.
That's where we were at.
Wow. And it was a 6-hour trip. That's not a short trip for first time. So did you get seasick, JJ? Did you ever feel funny from being on a boat?
No, sir.
Excellent. Wow.
What all kind of wildlife did you see?
I saw a heron.
What'd you see? Dolphin?
Yeah, a dolphin.
A dolphin, wow.
Stingray.
Wow. So
Wow. How big was the boat you were on?
I think it's about a 23-foot bay boat.
Oh, my.
You going to go fishing again?
Yes, sir, I think so.
Actually, y'all in Florida now, aren't you?
Are you
They're in Florida now.
Oh, wow.
What?
We're getting ready to go fishing.
We're ready to go fishing.
You ready?
Oh, my goodness. Rob, tell me a little bit about how did you how did you get all this done for him?
Well, I network all over with different people, but I became friends with Captain Marshall Wallet, and he believes in what I'm doing. He wanted to donate a trip, and my buddy Keith, we're good friends. I was like, you know somebody we could take down there? And he came up with Jesse James and Jeremiah, and I really didn't know a whole lot about the boys, but they brought them down there, and I didn't find out till that evening that Jesse had 3 open heart surgeries, and
Lord have mercy.
it really just blew me away. And that's just special kid, and he just been through so much, and was just glad to do this special trip for him and his brother.
Wow. And JJ, you're 9 years old,
Yes, sir.
and you've had surgery 3 times already.
Yes, sir.
God bless you. And you're feeling good though, right? You're feeling all right? You're not in any pain or anything? Everything seems to be okay for you now?
Yes, sir.
Hallelujah. Well, it warms my heart. I'm again in my life. Fishing was so big part of my life growing up. From doing it as a family to doing it, I lived by Saltwater canals, so we were always at the canal fishing, catching something, and it was just a big part of my life. And I tried to bring that out for other people. It's heartwarming to know that at your age that you were able to go out for the first time and catch all those fish. That's awesome. That is just awesome that you're able to do something like that. So are you going to look for places to go fishing now? Are you going to get your own fishing rod? You're going to continue fishing?
Yes, sir.
Do you think you're going to want to do freshwater fishing or saltwater fishing or both?
Both.
Yeah. I think you got him started, Rob. You've got him addicted now.
Yeah, well, when I was 6, I was kind of like you, Riscala. When I was 6 years old, I lived out in the country. I'd be going all day long. 6 years old, I'd be going from daylight to dark fishing.
I didn't start quite that young. I was a little older, but I was the same thing. We didn't have technology like we have today. What we did to entertain ourselves was we'd go out all day. We'd do something all day long, and my favorite thing was to go fishing. I would go fishing all day long. And I think it really kept me out of a lot of trouble because some of my friends got they got the best of themselves sometimes because they didn't have anything better to do with themselves. And kids with the curiosity that they have back then, they would do things that would end up getting them in trouble. So it kind of helped me stay out of trouble as well. And in doing it as a family it was a way for our family that everybody experienced the same thing at the same time. Wow. So JJ, do you think you're going to plan another trip on a boat, maybe?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Would you like to do that?
Yes, sir.
Hot dog. When you are in Florida, right? Are you in Florida today?
He's on vacation.
Oh, what a heck of a vacation! You get visited by a hurricane. What part of Florida are you in?
We're in Stark, Florida.
I didn't catch it.
We're in North Florida.
North Florida?
North Florida.
Yeah. On the east or west coast?
It's really going central.
Okay, so you probably won't get too affected by this. What's coming up then?
Yes, thank you, Jesus.
Well, it's literally right offshore from where we're at, and I'm having a very little bit of an effect. Let me get to Carolyn for real quick here. You seeing anything going on, Carolyn?
No, actually, we have a lull right now. The trees are not moving. The sky is brightened up to a light gray. So I think if you have to get the animals out, now's the time to do it. But I know it's going to be picking up again. But right now, it's a lull, a little bit of a lull right now.
Well, in the last half hour, 45 minutes, this thing, according to the radar, has just exploded. Let me get the action to start moving here so we can see what we look like. It looks like the center has moved up and is right at Boca right now. A couple of bands still coming in. Again, the majority of the bad stuff is offshore, thank you God. And so we're seeing very little bit where I'm at. I'm in Palm Beach. Carolyn is a little south of me. Rob, where are you at in Florida? No, you're not in Florida.
Right now.
No, you don't have anything to worry about right now. Where you're at?
I'm down south of New Orleans.
Yeah. So it looks like we've got probably the rest of the day of this just being overcast. As long as it stays like this is perfect for me. We don't have the blaring heat because sometimes you open the front door as you walk out and it's literally like an oven. And we're not experiencing that right now, and very little wind. So I'm very surprised. All right. Well, let me get back to JJ for a minute here as we're quickly running out of time. I wanted to say a big thank you to you, JJ. I'm glad that you were able to do what you did. I'm ever so grateful for people like Rob who go out of their way to help other people. And I want to make sure that you know that we appreciate you, my friend. You're an awesome little guy.
Thank you.
I'm going to let Carolyn say.
JJ, we'll have to do it again, buddy. Come on over to Mississippi.
There you go. I'll let Carolyn say goodbye to you, and then we'll go to a break. Thank you again. I appreciate it.
JJ, you're a tough little guy, and I hope to get more pictures of you fishing in the future. So congratulations on that nice fish.
Yeah, we do have a picture of you on the Fishing in Florida show on Facebook. We have a really nice picture of you holding that fish. That I think it was a redfish or maybe a drum.
Yeah, redfish.
Yeah. Rob, thank you.
I'd like to add something before you go to break.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'd just like folks to go to Forever Outdoors Facebook page. We have a website that's just been built at www.forever-outdoors.org. We just became a nonprofit, and we need help if folks are willing to help. And, if maybe be a host of an outdoor adventure for folks like JJ and other people. We try to find people who's willing to share what they have with others, So I appreciate y'all having us on, and thanks so much.
Hey, I appreciate you, my friend. I appreciate people like you. And now if they want to reach you, it's forever-or forever-outdoors.org. Is that correct?
Yes, or find us on Facebook. We have 94,000 people on our Facebook page. And
a great way to give back.
Find us on.
A great way to give back with an organization like this. Like where you just described, we took a child out, and for the first time, I can't imagine the excitement and the amazement that little JJ felt and saw and experienced for the first time to be out on a boat to go fishing, to catch a bunch of fish. Wow. And you
even got to drive.
Yeah, and you can, in your own way, you can be a part of that. It's not, you can't put money on that. For me, I couldn't put a dollar amount on that.
Oh, no, that's priceless.
Exactly. To know that you did, even if it's just a minute part of it, to know that you did part of it and you helped, instead of it going to build somebody's third home, these big corporate presidents that have 3 and 4 homes. This is going out to help the community in one way, shape, or form. Again, thank you, guys. I greatly appreciate it. And we're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back. Don't go away. You are listening to the Fishing in Florida show this morning with a hurricane. But we're doing good. We'll be right back.
You're listening to the Fishing in Florida show with your host, Scala Stevens. Don't go away. We'll be right back.
When it comes to parenting, there are no perfect answers. But that's okay, because you don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Teens in foster care will love you just the same.
For more information on adoption, visit adoptuskids.org. A message from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
Thinking of moving? Before you do anything else, call Diane Whittick. She provides a concierge service. Things like having your home or condo packed and shipped. Even take care of your home repairs or upgrades. Diane has the expertise to get it done. As a seller, you will have constant contact. She will furnish you with bids on any services that might need completion. Air conditioning, plumbing, handyman, and even cleaning. Living up north and have a home to sell here in South Florida? Just give her the keys, address, and a signature. Your payment will be wired when the property is sold. That's right, Diane does it all. Thinking of buying? Diane has great listening skills. Tell her what you want, give her your budget, and like a genie, she will make your real estate wish come true. There's no regrets when you choose Diane Whittick. To reach Diane, call 561-247-5478. That's 561-247-5478.
Do you need toner for your Epson, Hewlett-Packard, Canon, Brother, Apple, or Sharp printers? Look no further than Laser Technologies. In business for over 20 years, they offer the lowest prices on toner on the web. They can also repair your laser printers and toners fast and easy. Call their expert staff today at 561-792-9600 or email us at service@laser-technologies.com for all your toner needs. All toner is shipped nationwide. Why wait? Get the lowest prices on toner. Call or email us today.
Do you have an unusual pet? Did you know that the Rainforest Clinic in Loxahatchee specializes in exotic pets? They see pets that other vets don't. Parrots and chickens, ducks, geese, turtles, snakes, goats, pigs, lizards, and even monkeys. Are you a beekeeper? Dr. Clubb, the first of her kind in the area? Yes, she takes care of bees as well. Dr. Susan Clubb has decades of experience and known around the world for her reputation as a premier avian vet. Located at 3319 E Road in Loxahatchee, just a short distance north of Okeechobee Road, you will find a modern clinic with in-house labs, which allow you to get your test answers quickly. You can find them online at www.susanclub.com. That's www.susanclubb.com. Or you can reach her at 561-795-4878. It's Dr. Susan Clubb. That's 561-795-4878. The Rainforest Clinic located in Loxahatchee. 561-795-4878.
Want to give your pet the celebrity treatment? Have you heard of Holly Wolf Pet Grooming and Care in Royal Palm Beach? They're located just off State Road 7 and have been servicing the area for 14 years. Holly Wolf Pet Grooming and Care is the home of the Blueberry Facial, also specializing in tartar removal with 8 years of assisting in dental procedures. Holly Wolf Pet Grooming and Care? They're more than just about dogs. They are the only experienced cat groomer in the area. They also cater to all breeds and sizes and open 6 days a week. Holly Wolf Pet Grooming and Care, located just north of the Super Walmart in Royal Palm Beach. You can find them at 250 Business Parkway. They specialize in shampoos with no extra charge. Flea and tick dips also available. Holly Wolf Pet Grooming and Care. You can give them a call at 561-793-9992. They also provide gift certificates for those looking for that special present. Holly Wolf Pet Grooming and Care. 561-793-9992. They're located in Royal Palm Beach. That number, 561-793-9992. Call for your appointment today.
This station is now the ultimate power in the universe.
We have ignition. Strap in. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
I grab my fishing pole and cast it in the water. I fish until dawn. Oh my, I caught a shark. I'm fishing and blowing on. When the sun shines all day. It just caught me a grouper. So I'm fishing and blowing on. Oh yeah. Fishing and blowing on.
Good morning from the Sunshine State. Broadcasting from Palm Beach County, it's the Fishing in Florida Show. Sundays from 8 to 10 a.m. on the WCET FM network. And now, here's your host, Riscala.
All right, we are back. It is the Fishing in Florida Show. I am your sleep-deprived host this morning. Couldn't sleep last night. For the life of me, I couldn't sleep last night. It's like PTSD, if you will, in a way. Remembering what happened many years ago with Hurricane Andrew, and this thing sneaking up on us like this. Even at this moment, I'm still nervous. I'm watching it on the radar, literally by the minute. I guess I'm just obsessed by this. Oh, gosh, I can't wait for it to go away so I can go to sleep. Anyway, welcome back. It is the Fishing in Florida Show. What little is left of me at this point. I want to welcome back my co-host, Carolyn Stash. If you want to protect what you love to the max, who are you going to call? Carolyn, over there at Trax. Welcome back, my dear.
Oh, absolutely. Since we last spoke, the sky has brightened up quite a bit in the last 5 minutes, so
Cool.
That's a little promising for us.
Hot dog. Well, I think I have Angelia on. Angelia is also known as the Florida Salty Cowgirl. Good morning, Miss Angelia. How are you, my dear? She's there. Hello, hello. Oh, you know what? I know what she did. She set the phone down because she's out doing something else. She wasn't expecting to come on for a couple of minutes.
You got me?
Hi, Angelia. Happy Sunday.
Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Yeah, I was trying to get away from people. I was waiting to do the show, and speaking of the storm, the Keys dodged a serious bullet, and I'm thanking God right now. But we took all the precautions necessary. I work at a place that we have a fleet. Oh, I'm sorry, I can't talk this morning either. We have a fleet of 10 boats. So we spent all day Friday putting all the boats up at a nice, protected, secure marina in fear of the worst, because we all know that if you do not prepare for the worst, it's going to be the worst, and you're going to get in trouble.
Yeah.
So you got to prepare for that hurricane to do just about anything. And last Wednesday, our forecast was terrible. I mean, it was going to hit us. So we dodged the bullet. We got really, really lucky. So I was just waiting to get on air with you guys, and I'm going to start picking up boats so we can get back to operating as normal.
Oh, hot dog. Good for you. It's relatively calm where you are. Am I right?
You know, yesterday was absolutely beautiful with just little 20-minute spurts of high wind gusts and a little bit of rain. Today has more of a sustained wind, but it's really pretty and it's not bad at all. You would never know that there's a hurricane 100 miles from us. It's beautiful.
Carolyn and I, let me tell you about me, and I'll let Carolyn tell about her. Where I'm at, it looks just like, one of those days where it's just overcast. There's no wind. There's little to no wind. Every once in a while, a band will come through, but even then, the rain is extremely light. And I think Carolyn's probably seeing the same thing, pretty much the same thing. What are you seeing, Carolyn?
Yeah, so right now the sky's getting a little bit lighter and gray. The trees are not blowing, but I think we're just in the middle of some of the bands. I'm just one town south of Boca. So, Angelia, thank you for sending this storm my way. But so far, no damage, no trees are down. I don't see any torn canvas on anybody's boat here on the canal here. So we did the prep as necessary too. So we're just hoping it stays offshore as it moves up the coast of the U.S.
Well, I've been praying for everybody, and Florida looks like we're going to be good, and everybody knows that northeast corner of the storm is the absolute worst.
Right.
And it seems like we get that every time. I mean, we just haven't been lucky. This time we're on that southwest side of the storm, and especially me in Key Largo right now, I'm definitely on the southwest side of the storm.
Yeah.
And we'll get a little band of wind through occasionally, but today we're not really expecting any rain. And believe it or not, 7 o'clock this morning, we had gray skies and it was a little bit breezier. But right now, the sun's shining, the wind's light, and like I said, we're going to go put boats back.
It looks like
in the water and bring them back. So it can't be too bad.
It looks like you're going to see some rain shortly here, probably within the next hour.
A little bit of rain never bothered me, but it's the winds. When you're boating, it's the winds that get you, because the winds kick the seas up, and even on Bayside with a northerly wind, it can get pretty nasty. So that's all we were worried about is wind.
Mm-hmm.
But now that we're out of the danger zone and we're all clear and we know it's just going to get better this week, we're ready to rock. No rest for the weary, right?
How do you think this is going to affect fishing?
I'm not really sure. I'm finally going to get out and get some fishing done this week, and I'm really excited about that. So our forecast is beautiful. But sometimes the fish feel those storms coming before we do. They can feel that barometric pressure drop. Sometimes it'll make them go nuts for me, and sometimes they're rocked up and you can't get a bite to save your life. So I tell you what, I'll update you that on next week, because this week I'm going to spend a couple days out there fishing. I've been absolutely going through withdrawals. All the marine life in the world can't make up for having one on the end of your line.
Something about being on the water. It's just it's hard to compare to anything else from after on the water and enjoying what God gave us.
And like I always say, I'm pretty dang blessed. I'm on the water at least 5 days a week, and I've seen more marine life lately than I ever did in years past. So I'm thrilled to death. But none of it compares to having a big old fish on the end of your line. That's where it's at for me. So I'm finally going to dunk some lines in the water this week and see what's going on with the mahi on a first-hand basis, and I'm very excited about that. Our forecast for this week is just gorgeous. So all is good in the world in the Keys. Thank you, God. We were really scared last Wednesday in making all of our preparations, but it turned out that we dodged the bullet in a big way. So I'm really sorry for Puerto Rico, and my goodness, if anybody watched yesterday, it just sat on the Bahamas.
Oh, it just stopped.
Shredding.
Yeah.
Oh,
it just
my
stopped.
goodness. That was terrible. I don't even want to see pictures of Nassau. I did not turn on the news this morning. That's really, really saddening to think that they just got demolished by this storm. So
I can only.
It just sat there.
We have a friend over there that's on the show from time to time, Stephanie Lynn. And just hope and pray that all is well with her. I try to reach out to her and see how she's doing. She has a catamaran. This is another individual that is so inspiring. She's a young lady. Do you know who I'm talking about? I know Carolyn probably does.
I'm going to have to look her up.
Stephanie Lynn. This young lady is amazing. She left the corporate world to go live her dream. Her dream is to live on the water. And then she does. She lives on the water now. She gives classes on free diving. And some of the pictures that have been taken of her are just indescribable. In this one picture, she's literally petting a tiger shark. Literally, the shark is coming up to meet her, and she's petting this tiger. And the shark is, I don't know, 12 feet. It's huge.
Wow.
Huge.
A girl after my own heart.
Beautiful photos.
Yeah.
I mean, she's nose to nose with that shark.
Yeah. Just amazing.
Well, I've got a couple hours of just driving boats back with no passengers today, so I'll check her out for sure.
Yeah. Stephanie Lynn. She's on Facebook. You can find her on Facebook.
Awesome.
Anyway, yeah, there's awesome people out there. Two of them I have with me this morning, Carolyn and Angelia. Angelia, how's the fishing doing before the storm thing did? How are you doing?
It is absolute mahi mania.
Oh my gosh!
You can hook into one by a nice big reef line, and you can just see the flickers all in the water of all of the schoolies, and people are just loading up on them, throwing out chunk bait and getting them to go crazy. Once you get those schoolies and a feeding frenzy, it's pretty much a done deal.
Oh my gosh!
But yeah, the mahi's been insane lately, and I talked to a couple gentlemen the other day that went out on a charter, and they just killed it on the blackfin tuna, which we get year-round here. So, yeah, fishing's been good. Fishing's always good down here. Like I said, I do my first-hand report next week. But yeah, we're very, very, very blessed with the fishing. I don't hardly ever complain about it. It's been wonderful. Although when Irma did come through and gave us a direct hit, you couldn't get anything but predators to bite for about, I don't know, a month or 6 weeks. Nothing but barracuda and sharks, and it was really tough. The fish were scared, they were rocked up, and they weren't coming back out. But
wow.
I think they're pretty. They should know that they're pretty safe by now.
We
didn't get anywhere near what we expected, so fishing should be fantastic.
Carolyn and I were talking about Irma before you came on earlier in the show. That Irma did something really bizarre. I think it was Irma. Was it Irma, Carolyn?
Yeah, it was Irma in 2017.
It drained the bay on the other side of the state. I'd never ever seen anything or heard of anything like that.
If you guys would have seen it firsthand, you would have been absolutely just flabbergasted. Oceanside took about 3 foot of storm surge over the seawall. So
wow.
It even went all the way out onto US 1. It washed out US 1 completely at mile marker 74 down in Lower Matacumbe. And there were boats in the middle of the road. There were trees knocked down everywhere. But then, before the water had even receded on Oceanside, all you had to do was look on the other side of the island and look at Bayside. The water had literally been sucked out of Bayside. Wow. It was the strangest phenomenon I'd ever heard of. And you would look out at these beautiful marinas that we know all too well, and there were boats of every size and every kind sitting in the mud, keeled over, and they had to wait until the water came back in to get these boats, moved and taken care of. But it was just the most
bizarre. It was so weird.
I've ever seen in my life. You'd look on one side of the road, and the water was coming over the road. You'd look on the other side of the road, and there was no water with boats sitting in the mud. It was insane. I'd never seen any such thing in my life. It must have been something about how the eye came over the island. But yes, it's exactly what happened. And to see it with your own eyes was just crazy. I mean, the phenomenon, I don't even get it, but I guess, these storms have a mind of their own. They're going to do what they want. So, but yeah, that was absolutely the case.
Unbelievable.
It was really, really strange. It took about a week for the water to come in deep enough for these boats to move and get back floating.
Wow, it took that long to get back, huh?
Yeah, it took 4 or 5 days for the water to recede from Oceanside. and it took about a week for enough water to get on Bayside for the boats to even.
Wow.
So it was a little waiting game that we played down here.
Yeah, that really was. But I've lived in Florida just about all my life. I've been through just about every hurricane that's come through Florida. I've never, ever, ever seen anything like that, ever. That was like so bizarre. So bizarre. But it shows you the strength, the power that these things have. To literally, I described it almost like you described it. I said it was almost like somebody took a giant vacuum cleaner and just sucked all the water out of the bay and dried it completely out. It was just unbelievable.
Absolutely.
Wow.
And hey guys, I am enjoying myself to the immensely, but I've got crew waving me down right now to go pick up boats, so I have got to run this morning.
All right. Well, I wish you the very best, and thank you so very much for taking time to share with us. I greatly appreciate it. Wish you an awesome day, what's left of it, and I'm glad all is well.
Yes, all is wonderful. So I wish everyone on the East Coast the best, and my prayers are with you, and I've got my fingers crossed for everybody.
God bless you, my dear. Be well. Let me let Carolyn say goodbye to you.
And playing with boats today because I'm stuck inside. So we'll talk to you next
Okay.
week.
I'm playing with boats today. Hey, thank you guys. Have a great week, everybody.
You too, dear. Be well. All right, that is Angelia. She is the Florida Salty Cowgirl. You can find her on a variety of ways. You can go to Facebook and find her there. It's probably one of the easiest ways. And she's a captain. She's a professional captain. She's lived just about her whole life on the water. Started out on the West Coast and moved over to the Keys. I was going to say on the East Coast, but it's kind of the Keys. It's kind of a little bit of both if you think about it. Huh? And a little bit of East and West there, right?
Oh, absolutely.
If you're down there in the Keys, it's kind of a little bit of your midway. Well, she's down there in Islamorada, and she's a captain. She's a guide. She'll take you out. She'll show you how to catch fish if you don't know how to do it, or she'll let you catch fish if you know how to do it. So the easiest way to reach her that I'm aware of is just go on Facebook and find her on there. Florida Salty Cowgirl. Amazing young lady. When I think of her, the first thing I think of is this big, beautiful smile. Every picture I see of her, she has got this big, beautiful smile. Again.
And let's not forget that beautiful long hair.
Yes, along with the hair. But the first thing I see is that big, beautiful smile of hers. And she's so many times she's taken pictures of. She's holding a fish, and it's almost as big as she is.
Oh, no doubt. She just posted a kingfish the other day, and and she gets around from her Alaska trip to the Keys to Tampa Bay. I mean, she definitely with her I think she has a 100-ton captain's license, and she has her own vessel. It's pretty amazing, and I can't wait to get down and fish with her. It's about an hour and a half drive for me to get to her, and we've been talking about it.
Oh, wow. Well, I hope you get to do that soon. Speaking of which, are you going to be up this way anytime?
I might be up in Wellington midweek. And I'm happy to say that we're going to be fishing a first ladies tournament here locally in Pompano, put on by Sean Miller and offshore angler Pompano Beach. So that's going to be this coming Saturday.
Oh, cool.
We already have a donated boat, so we're kind of excited about that, and hopefully have some pictures to post. But yeah, I should be up maybe Wellington way, maybe Wednesday. That's
the Atlas Trax Lady Anglers. Is that who that is?
Yeah, the Atlas Trax ladies fishing team that I put together a couple years ago with some breast cancer survivors and daughters of, and we get invited out, and we were last minute invited yesterday to fish a boat. So I think, the guys like taking us out, and they like talking smack and see which boat catches the most fish. So I think that's a lot of fun. The fun bantering.
Now, you planning on doing that this coming week?
Yeah, this coming Saturday, August 5th, I believe is the date. We were invited just last minute yesterday, so we're going to get on there and fish and see if we could bring some stuff to the scales. I think it's going to be not an official weigh-in, but maybe photos and video.
Mm-hmm.
But that's a great way to fish. I think there's probably going to be about 15 boats and lady anglers only. I'm
curious as to what's going to occur after this thing leaves the area. I've had people tell me that the fish can feel the barometric change, the barometric. What am I trying to say? The pressure. They can feel the change in the pressure. And as a result, it either causes them to hide and not bite at all, or I think that's what it was, that they'll hide and not bite at all. You have to wait for the pressure to return or to get normalized again before they become active. I wonder if by the time Saturday rolls around, if all of that will, if the barometric pressure will, I guess it would be. I think this is supposed to be in our area until around 8 o'clock tonight, and then it's, from what I understand, I think it's going to be Monday. It's going to be way north of us. So by the time Saturday rolls around, all that stuff should have settled down.
imagine the water temperature and, of course, the visibility. So I think all of those factors will play in on Saturday. But, I can get those pre-fishing reports by just calling Trey over at Big Dog Tackle, and he's got a daily grasp on who's catching what. So that's a great way to see it. And I'm sure he's going to participate in some capacity in that tournament as well.
Wow. Well, I wish you well in that one, and we'll see how that turns out. I'll be very interested in hearing what the outcome was next. So that's next Saturday. So you'll be able to tell us. The following day will be Sunday. Hot dog! Look at there.
Yes. Post on Saturday from the boat. I will. I'll post up on Saturday how we're doing.
Cool. Anything else going on that you're that you're aware of coming up in the future here?
We've got a Summer Warrens tournament that is called Chasing Tails in honor of her son.
Oh, yeah.
That has been formally rescheduled to September 24th and 26th. So I'd like to have her on and tell her about the tournament, but she does great work. They donate foods for caregivers to hospitals, child diseases and toys and wonderful things like that. So her tournament's been officially rescheduled, which is great, and not postponed till 2021. So that's going to be a real good one coming up. So we're looking forward to fishing that one too.
Great. Yeah, this is the fishing community gives back over and over and over again. So it's something to be proud of, to be a part of in any way that you can. And part of that being proud of and being part of is just to work with the small businesses there's a variety of fishing related businesses here in South Florida because we got water everywhere. And one of the ways that you can give back to the community is by dealing with a small, locally owned, family-owned business. I am one of them. Carol with Mermaid Vodka is another one. She's part of the fishing team with Carolyn. Carolyn is another one. I think just about everybody we had on today was a small, family-owned business here in Florida. Everybody wins in this deal. That's the kind of deals I like, where everybody wins. Because, kind of selfish in a way, because I'm part of everybody. But, I mean, really, seriously, when you can work something whenever possible for me, I can work a deal where everybody wins. That's what I do. Because in the long run, it just makes for more abundance for everybody else. Everybody's happy about the deal. Both sides won. They want to do it again. That kind of thing.
Yeah.
So that's what you get.
These are including you and myself. We work during the days with real jobs, and we still find the time to get out and help the community.
Yep.
Or be available as a volunteer, or bring food to somebody if we can. So it's full time and a lifestyle that we all choose that makes us very special and helps the community so much.
To me, it's about it is what this country used to be about. And that is people helping people. Whenever you can, you help. If you can't help, then we understand. But whenever you can, you can. Used to be that way. Many, many years ago, it used to be that way. Everybody put in a little bit, and before you know it, we had an abundance. So it's something I'm honored to be a part of in whatever little way that may be, because I've seen what the community does. You mentioned the Chasing Tails. Chasing Tails is another one that gives back to the community. Rob, that we just had on, gives back. It took a little boy who had open heart surgery at 9 years old 3 times. Took him for the first time in his life fishing. Caught him a bunch of fish. You can't put a dollar amount on that. That little child will remember that for the rest of his life. That day will be scorched in his memory. He'll never forget anything about that day. Those are things that we can do as people involved in the fishing community to help other people and make lifelong memories, lifelong changes, lifelong memories. Just for me, at the age I am, I still remember the fishing trips my parents took us on. It's just one of those things. All right, well, we're quickly running out of time. Anything you want to share with us before we get ready to sign out of here?
No, other than the fact that we've got a lot of unassembly of things after the storm gets through. Everybody be safe out there, and look forward to giving you guys a fishing report on Saturday.
Amen. All right, Carolyn, thank you so very much for taking time to share with me, and I wish you the best what's left of this weekend. I wish you well, my dear.
Bye.
So long. All right, my friends, thank you for taking time to listen in. We'll be back in a week, and we'll have some more information for you.